Then we've got variables that can store multiple things, and you'll use these a lot, and we'll talk more about these a little bit later today as well. We've got lists. These are a very common one that you'll be using all the time. Lists are basically sequences of items where the order matters, okay? And you are allowed duplicates. You can have the same value as multiple entries in a list, and the order of the list matters. So that means you can refer to what is the seventh element of the list, what's the second element of the list, etc. Okay, so the order matters in a list. And so here we can see an example of a list called my list, and it's being assigned these values. And a list in Python we denote using square brackets. Okay, so square brackets around the values in that list. And then the various values in the list are separated using commas. You can stuff anything into a list. So here I've got a list which contains an integer, a Boolean value, a string, a floating point value, and then another string value. Okay. You can even have objects, as which we'll get onto a little bit in a couple of weeks. You can have objects within lists as well, and a list is itself an object. So you can have one of your values in this can be itself a list, which contains other values. So you can basically stuff anything into a list. We've also got these things called sets. So sets are like lists, but they are unordered. So the order doesn't matter. They're just a bundle of stuff. And they can only contain unique items. You can't have duplicate values in a set. You probably won't use sets as much as you will, or you definitely won't use sets as much as you will lists. You may not encounter them that much, but there are certain things that you have to use sets for, and you may see them for various things. We've also got tuples. Again, tuples are ordered like a... sorry, I should have said sets. We denote those using curly brackets. Okay. So tuples are basically like lists in that they are ordered, so the order matters. But unlike a list, they are what's known as immutable. That means that once you created a set and you've put in the values there, you can never change it. Okay, so yeah, unlike a list, which we'll see today, you can change the values within a list. You cannot change the contents of a tuple. Again, you probably won't use them that much, but they are used for certain things that you may encounter. So it's worth knowing they're there. And they use the standard parentheses, the standard brackets for tuples. And then the other ones worth flagging up are dictionaries. Now dictionaries, again, use these curly braces like sets, which can be a little bit confusing, but they are a bit different to the rest. So dictionaries, or dict, as they're commonly abbreviated, are unordered, so the order does not matter in a dictionary, and they are collections of key value pairs. Now we'll talk more about dictionaries later, but basically you have each value is essentially a pair. So you have a lookup value, which is your key, so the thing you'll use to look something up, and then the value that's associated with that key, and they are separated by a colon. So you can have things like, that your lookup key is tutor, and if I look up tutor, the value is Dan. If I look up number of modules, my value is 7. You can see that they might be quite useful already, I suspect. So of these, lists and dictionaries are undoubtedly the ones you will work with the most. They are by far the ones that are most common of these four for the kind of stuff you'll be doing. And we'll be covering both lists and dictionaries today.